One of the things you mentioned there, talking about from very beginning, talking about when you came to the United States, essentially flat broke, and you have been both fortunate and through a product of an immense amount of work and effort that you've put in, you've had tremendous financial success. But a lot of our viewers don't know a lot about your background and history. I think it would be really interesting if you could share, and there's things you've shared in the books you've written, but if you could share with our audience maybe one or two things that happened financially early in your time in the US that kind of elucidate how mistakes happen, and maybe they seem like just big boneheaded things, but then you move forward and eventually they become irrelevant.
Yeah, so when I finished medical school, there was no way to get out of India um, easily. You had to pass exams. You had to go to Sri Lanka to get an exam done. Foreign exchange regulations didn't allow you to leave India with more than $8. I had an uncle in England who lent me $100, so now I had 108. I thought in India that's a very auspicious number. 108 is almost a holy number. 108 mantras on the bead and all that. 108, everything is 108. So I thought I should do something auspicious. I went to the Moulin Rouge in Paris and spent it all in one night at the shows and champagne and all of that. So when I arrived in the United States, I had no money. I landed in JFK. In those days, we didn't have cell phones or anything. I made a collect call to the hospital, which no longer exists. It was a rundown, what do you call it, community hospital in Plainfield, New Jersey, with a lot of violence and very kind of rundown place run by the mob. And I didn't know that before I arrived here. I said, I don't have any money. Can you pick me up? I called the hospital. They were so desperate, they sent me a helicopter. So my first experience of the United States is lifting off a helicopter, JFK. I thought this must be Disney World, or if it isn't Disney World, I guess Disney World is even better. 15 minutes later, I was in this little place called Plainfield, New Jersey. Went to the emergency room, got totally involved, there after 24 hours, totally exhausted, and went to Main Street, stood outside a television store because I'd never seen television in my life. When I came to this country, there was no TV in India. This was a color TV. And I was fascinated. And the salesperson came out. He said, you like that? I said, yeah. He said, why didn't you buy it? I said, I have no money. He said, what do you do? I said, I'm training to be a doctor. He said, at the hospital? I said, yes. He said, oh, come on in, doc. All you have to do is sign this yellow piece of paper and you can have the TV set. So I walked out with the TV set, not realizing there were 10 TV sets in my dorm. And I had signed off a month's salary with this TV set. But it didn't bother me. Next day, I worked again 24 hours in the emergency room. And then I went to an automobile place, and it was a Volkswagen dealership. I asked for the manager. I said, do you have that yellow piece of paper that I can sign, because I'm a doctor and I want to drive that car out of? And I drove out, and $50 down payment, I drove a Volkswagen Beetle out of the agency. I thought, this is heaven. You don't have to spend any money. I mean, you can spend any amount of money even though you haven't earned it. And so, then I got into this rat race of stress, which is basically the cause of illness in our society. 95% of illness is directly or indirectly related to stress. And money is a huge stress in people's lives, other than health, of course, and personal relationships, but they're all kind of entangled. You need money to have a comfortable life, you need a comfortable life to have healthy relationships. It's all kind of entangled with the rest of your life.